The galaxy knew his name. Archanvale. He was not a king, not a soldier, not even a politician. Yet, he ruled more than all of them. Entire corporations bent to his word. Starfleets moved when he gave a single order. Trade routes across the spiral arms of the galaxy carried his mark. If you drank water on a desert colony, if you wore clothes on a cold moon, if you traveled by ship across the stars, chances were, Archanvale's companies had touched your life. He was the richest man alive. The most powerful man in the galaxy. And the strangest. Because he never smiled. No one had ever seen it, not a grin, not even a twitch of his lips. His face was carved in stone, cold and unchanging. He spoke in short sentences, always calm, always in control. Rivals feared him. Partners respected him. But even his closest employees whispered in silence, was he even human? Meetings with him were short and cold. His board of directors used to say that sitting across from Archan was like facing the void of space, dark, endless, and merciless. Yet, he never raised his voice, never threatened. He didn't need to. His silence was heavier than warships. Many tried to break him. Alien negotiators told jokes, human investors tried flattery, even political leaders tested insults, but Archanvale remained the same. No reaction. No laugh. No anger. Nothing. And so, the galaxy gave him a name, the Silent CEO. Inside his tower on Orion Prime, Archanvale sat behind a wide desk of black stone. The glass walls around him showed the burning skies of the city, where ships rose like sparks into orbit. His office was empty except for a single woman who stood near the desk, reading reports aloud. Her name was Lena. She was his secretary. Unlike others, Lena wasn't afraid to speak near him. She was young, with clear eyes and a calm voice. She read numbers, lists, schedules, words that usually filled the endless silence. Archan listened, his eyes scanning holographic displays, his hands moving across streams of data. For most, this silence was unbearable. But Lena had worked for him long enough to learn his rhythm. He didn't need chatter. He didn't need warmth. He needed precision. And she gave it to him. But on this day something strange happened. As she read the reports, Lena's voice trailed. Her mind drifted. She looked outside the glass walls, at the stars just beginning to shine in the fading light. Without thinking, without planning, she let out a soft sound. A hum. A melody. It was small at first, just a quiet tune under her breath. A simple, human song. The kind that mothers once sang to their children, long before Earth joined the galaxy. The sound floated in the air, gentle, fragile. Archanvale froze. His hand stopped over the glowing display. His eyes lifted from the streams of numbers. For the first time in years, his employees would have said, the CEO paused. Lena realized her mistake. Her cheeks warmed, and she quickly stopped. Forgive me, sir, she said nervously. I didn't mean. But Archan's gaze was not cold. Not anymore. His eyes were sharp, yes, but behind them, something moved. A shadow of memory. A weight of something long buried. Continue, he said quietly. Lena blinked. Sir. The song. His voice was steady, but lower than usual. Continue. Her heart raced. No one ever asked him for anything except results, numbers, profit. But he had asked her to sing. Slowly, carefully, Lena let the melody rise again. This time not as a hum, but as a soft, clear voice. The tune filled the wide office, echoing off the glass walls and black stone. A song from old Earth, nearly forgotten, but alive in her. And Arkenvale listened. For the first time, his face changed. His eyes softened. His jaw trembled. His lips, almost curved. Almost. Lena's voice faded as she grew uncertain. She glanced at him, afraid she had gone too far. But he didn't speak. He didn't dismiss her. He simply sat there, silent, staring at the floor as if the melody had broken through the walls he had built around himself. The galaxy would never believe it. The silent CEO had been moved by a song. That night, whispers spread in the towers of Orion Prime. "Did you hear?" His secretary sang in his office. And he listened. Yes. He stopped everything. Just listened. Rumors moved faster than ships. Across stations and colonies, the tale twisted. Some said the song was a secret code. Others claimed it was an ancient weapon. Some even whispered that Arkenvale was not human at all, and the song had unlocked something inside him. But only two people knew the truth. Lena, who had sung without thinking. And Arkenvale, who for the first time in his life, almost smiled. And when he finally spoke again, his words were soft but heavy. "Where did you learn that song?" The words hung in the air like a blade. "Where did you learn that song?" Arkenvale's voice was steady, but Lena could feel the weight behind it. His eyes, sharp and unblinking, fixed on her as if the wrong answer could end her life. She swallowed. Her hands shook slightly. This was the most powerful man in the galaxy, the silent CEO, and he was not asking about numbers or profits. He was asking about a song. "I found it," Lena said quietly. "In an archive?" Arken's expression didn't move. "What kind of archive?" "A cultural one," she explained, her voice trembling. "I sometimes search old records in the evenings. Earth history, lost traditions, forgotten things. I enjoy reading them. The song, it was hidden, buried deep in the files. Almost deleted. But I copied it." Silence stretched. Only the city's hum outside the tower filled the space. Arken leaned back slowly, his fingers pressing against the black desk. His gaze was distant, almost haunted. Finally, he whispered, "That song is not supposed to exist." Lena froze. "Not supposed to exist? But it's just a melody. A lullaby." Arken shook his head once, firmly. "No. It is not just a melody." The next morning, whispers had already spread far beyond Orion Prime. News traveled fast in the galaxy, especially when it concerned Arkenvale. "They say his secretary sang, and he stopped everything to listen." Impossible. Vale has no emotions. Then explain why he dismissed his entire board yesterday just to hear her again. Rumors twisted like shadows. Aliens in the trade hubs began to speculate. Some said the song was a secret message to hidden fleets. Others believed it was an ancient weapon from Earth's past. And in the corridors of rival corporations, the fear grew. "What if the song is a code?" one alien leader hissed. "A signal to wake human war machines." "Or a key," another whispered. "A key to something they kept hidden. Something dangerous." For the first time in decades, Arkenvale was not silent in the galaxy's rumors. He was the center of them. And Lena, his secretary, was now the focus of countless eyes. Lena noticed the change quickly. As she walked through the tower halls, she felt stares from other workers. Strange men in gray suits appeared outside the building, watching, waiting. Messages flooded her console, offers from unknown names. Some promised wealth if she shared the song. Some threatened her if she didn't. Fear pressed down on her chest. She had never asked for this. It was just a song. Just a tune she found by accident. That evening, Arkan called her into his private office again. "Sit," he said simply. She obeyed, though her heart pounded. He studied her in silence for a long moment, then spoke. "You must never sing that song outside this office again." Lena's eyes widened. "Why? What is it?" Arkan's jaw tightened. "It is older than this galaxy knows. It comes from a part of Earth's history that most would rather forget." Her voice shook. "But, why me? Why did it affect you so much?" He looked at her with eyes like iron. "Because I have heard it before." Lena gasped softly. "But how?" "The archives said it was almost deleted. Lost." Arkan rose from his chair and turned toward the wide glass wall, watching ships crawl across the stars. His reflection looked even colder in the starlight. "Not lost," he said. "Buried. Hidden. Because if it returned, others would come for it. And now, they will." As if to prove his words, alarms rang across the city that very night. Orion Prime's defense grid lit up as alien fleets entered orbit. They flew banners of rival corporations, mercenary clans, and shadow empires. Their message was the same. Surrender the source of the song. In her small apartment, Lena couldn't sleep. She stared out the window at the sky, where distant flashes of light marked ships maneuvering in silence. Fear twisted her stomach. She whispered to herself, "What have I done?" Her console blinked. A message appeared. No sender, no signature, just words. "The song is not yours. Hand it over. Or disappear." Her blood ran cold. She closed the screen, her hands shaking, and pressed her head into her pillow. She wished she had never sung at all. But somewhere, deep inside, a question burned. Why did Arkan Vale, the man who never smiled, react like that? Why did this simple melody matter more than fleets and fortunes? The next morning, when she entered the office, Arkan was already waiting. His usual stillness was gone. He looked restless. "They've moved against us," he said flatly. "Our rivals. They want the song." Lena's voice cracked. "But why? What can it do?" Arkan turned his gaze to her, sharp and heavy as ever. "It is not just music. It is a code. A signal from Earth's past. And your voice matches the key." Her breath caught in her throat. "Me? Yes." His tone was grave. "You are now the most dangerous person in this galaxy." Lena could not believe what she had just heard. Her voice, the key to something hidden. A song, not just music, but a code. And Arkan Vale, the silent CEO, speaking as if the galaxy itself depended on it. She stared at him, her heart racing. "Sir. I don't understand. How can a song be a code?" Arkan's eyes narrowed. "It is not for you to understand. It is for you to survive." Those words chilled her. That evening, as the twin suns of Orion Prime set, Lena left the tower with her head low, trying to avoid the eyes that followed her. The streets buzzed with noise, traders, ships, neon signs, but she felt hunted. Every shadow seemed alive. Every figure seemed to watch. Her console blinked again. Another message. You are holding death in your throat. Sing for us, or you will not live to regret it. She quickly shut it off. The rumors were spreading faster now. Across the galaxy's networks, people whispered about the song. No one agreed on its meaning. Some said it was a lost weapon. Some believed it could awaken fleets hidden in dark space. Others said it was Earth's secret, something buried after the old wars. And everywhere, one question grew louder. Why did Arkan Vale, the man who never smiled, care about it? Inside his office, Arkan stood before a long black cabinet. Lena entered hesitantly, carrying her data pad. Sir, she said softly, I'm being watched. They are sending me threats. I know, he replied, his back to her. Then, what do we do? Arkan slowly opened the cabinet. Inside, holographic maps glowed, a web of ancient trade routes, hidden markers, and old Earth signals. Lena stepped closer, her eyes wide. These, he said, pointing to the glowing marks, are traces of the past. Old human defenses, built before we ever entered the galactic stage. They were hidden after the First Contact War. Lena frowned. First Contact War? But the history records are lies, Arkan finished coldly. What you are taught is the story aliens allowed us to keep. The truth is darker. He turned, his eyes burning now with something more than power. That song you sang, it was never meant to be a lullaby. It was a signal. A command phrase. A key to wake what humanity buried. Her throat went dry. Wake, what? Arkan's lips pressed into a line. He didn't answer. That night, the galaxy shifted. Spies from rival corporations began to move against Vale's empire. Assassins tried to breach his towers. Ships with no flags lurked near Orion Prime, silent and waiting. Everyone wanted the song. Everyone wanted Lena. Inside her small room, Lena tried to sleep, but dreams came instead. She saw stars burning, machines rising, and shadows of ships hidden in black void. She woke with sweat on her skin, her own voice still humming the melody in the dark. The melody that was no longer just hers. The next morning, she walked into the office and found Arkan already waiting. His expression was colder than usual. They are coming faster than I expected, he said. Who? She asked. Everyone, he replied. Corporations, mercenaries, even governments. They all want the same thing, the code inside your song. She felt her knees weaken. But why me? Why not you? You're the most powerful man alive. For the first time, something broke through his mask. A shadow of sorrow. Because my voice cannot sing it, he said quietly. Only yours can. Hours later, during a meeting with the inner board, Lena stood silently behind him as usual. But this time, she noticed how the directors whispered, how their eyes slid toward her when they thought no one saw. She's the one muttered. The song is inside her. Should we take her away? Arkan's head turned sharply. The room froze. His voice was calm, but deadly. Anyone who touches her dies. The silence that followed was heavier than steel. Even his most loyal directors did not dare breathe too loud. Lena's chest tightened as she realized, she was no longer just a secretary. She was a weapon. A secret. A target. That evening, when the office was quiet, Lena gathered courage. Sir, she said softly, why do you protect me? You don't even smile at anyone. You never show care. Why me? For a long time, Arkan didn't answer. He stood by the glass wall, watching the endless stars. His reflection looked like stone. Finally, he spoke. His voice was lower than she had ever heard. Because I have seen what happens when that song is sung by the wrong hands. And I will not allow it again. Lena's heart stopped. Again. But Arkanvale said no more. Far away, in the cold edges of the galaxy, fleets were moving. Alien admirals whispered of a human key. Mercenary lords plotted to steal the girl. And governments quietly debated war. The galaxy didn't know the full truth. But they all feared one thing. If the silent CEO was protecting her this strongly, then the song was more dangerous than anyone imagined. And as Lena lay awake that night, her voice humming softly against her will, she felt the walls of the galaxy closing in. The whispers of the past were no longer whispers. They were footsteps. The night sky over Orion Prime was no longer calm. Dozens of ships hung above the city like silent predators. Their lights glowed red against the clouds. Everyone knew why they were here. They weren't here for trade. They weren't here for peace. They were here for Lena. For the song. Inside the Black Tower, Arkanvale stood before the wide glass wall, his hands clasped behind his back. He looked like a man carved from stone. But his silence was heavier than ever. Lena stood a few steps away, her chest tight, fear twisting inside her. They will attack soon, she whispered. Yes, Arkan replied calmly. And they believe you will be easy to take. Lena swallowed hard. And will I be? His eyes turned to her, sharp as a blade. Not while I live. Suddenly, alarms rang across the city. The defense grid lit up, red lights flashing on every building. The ground trembled as starships moved above the atmosphere, shifting into attack formation. Arkan turned, his voice steady. It is time. He walked to the black cabinet he had shown her before. With a single command, the cabinet opened wider, revealing a hidden chamber beneath. Inside lay rows of devices, metallic, old, glowing faintly with blue light. What are those? Lena asked, stepping closer. Relics, Arkan said. Old Earth technology. Hidden after the First Contact War. Everyone believes they were destroyed. They were not. I kept them. Lena's breath caught. And the song. Is their key? The tower shook violently as blasts from orbit struck the defense shields. Windows cracked. Sirens wailed. Lena fell to her knees, but Arkan pulled her up with one hand. Sing, he commanded. Her eyes widened. Here? Now? Yes, he said. Sing the melody. The machines will obey you. Her heart pounded. She wanted to refuse. She was just a secretary, just a girl who liked old songs. She was not a warrior. She was not a weapon. But above them, the sky was burning. Ships descended like wolves, claws ready to tear apart the city. Lena closed her eyes. Her voice trembled, but the melody rose. Soft at first. Then stronger. Clear. The forgotten tune filled the chamber, echoing against the walls. And the machines answered. One by one, the devices inside the chamber lit up. Blue lines of power spread across their surfaces. Symbols glowed, old human markings that had not been seen for centuries. The hum of energy grew louder, until the floor itself vibrated beneath their feet. Far above the city, hidden in the blackness of deep orbit, Something stirred. Ships. Massive warships. They had been asleep for generations, cloaked in silence, drifting unseen in the void. Now, as Lena's voice reached them, their engines roared to life. Hulls of dark steel glowed with awakening power. Thousands of lights flickered on like the eyes of giants. The galaxy thought humanity had no fleets left from the old wars. They were wrong. The fleet had only been sleeping. Waiting. And now, it had heard the song. In the command centers of rival ships above Orion Prime, panic spread. Unknown signals detected. Impossible, they're human warships. They were myths. They can't exist. They're powering weapons gods, they're aiming at us. Arkin watched as reports streamed across his display. His lips pressed tight, his face still calm but his eyes burned with satisfaction. Beside him, Lena's voice faltered as she realized the scale of what she had awakened. "They're listening to me," she whispered. "They're following my song." "Yes," Arkin said softly. "Because you are the key. Only your voice carries the right frequency. You were meant to control them." Her heart sank. "But I never wanted this." His eyes locked onto hers. "Neither did I. But the galaxy has forced our hand. And now, it will remember what humanity can do." Above, the sleeping fleet fired. Beams of light tore across the sky, striking enemy ships in a single devastating wave. Hulls split apart, fire scattering into space. Alien commanders screamed orders, but it was too late. The forgotten human warships moved with deadly precision, answering every note of Lena's trembling voice. The galaxy's hunters had come to capture one woman. Instead, they had awakened humanity's nightmare. When the first wave of attackers fell, Lena collapsed into a chair, shaking. Her voice was hoarse, her chest tight. "I can't keep singing," she gasped. Arkin stepped forward, placing a steady hand on her shoulder. For the first time, his voice carried something almost human. "Rest," he said. "You've done enough. The fleet will hold for now." She looked up at him, fear in her eyes. "What happens next?" He turned toward the glass wall, watching flames scatter across the stars. His reflection almost looked like a smile. "Almost. Next," he said quietly, "the galaxy learns that humanity never forgot war. We only buried it." Far away, in the deep halls of alien empires, messages spread like wildfire. The silent CEO had awakened something thought impossible. Human warships had returned. And at the center of it all was not just Arkin Vale, but his secretary. The girl who sang. The galaxy was burning. Above Orion Prime, the skies were no longer filled with stars, they were filled with fire. Human warships, once lost to history, moved like shadows through the void. Their dark hulls glowed with blue power, their cannons striking with terrifying precision. Alien fleets screamed as they fell. Their shields shattered. Their ships cracked open like glass. One after another, they vanished in explosions, leaving nothing but wreckage in the cold dark. And at the center of it all, inside the black tower, sat Lena, her voice the key. Her song carried through hidden channels, guiding the ancient machines. Each note she sang was answered by fire from the heavens. She was no longer just a secretary. She was a commander of ghosts. But her body trembled. Her throat ached. Sweat ran down her face as she struggled to keep singing. I can't hold it much longer," she whispered. Arkin Vale stood beside her, unshaken even as the tower shook from distant blasts. His eyes watched her carefully. His hand rested on the back of her chair, steadying her. "You don't need to sing forever," he said quietly. "Just long enough to remind them what humanity truly is." On the enemy bridges, panic grew. "Retreat! Retreat!" one alien commander shouted. "No, press forward. Capture the girl before the machines destroy us all. We can't even reach the surface, the human fleet blocks every path." The galaxy's predators had come to take a single human. Now they were prey, fleeing in terror. Then something changed. The largest ship in the enemy fleet appeared, an alien dreadnought, black as night, bristling with weapons. Its engines roared, pushing through the wreckage. It ignored the burning remains of its allies and aimed directly at Orion Prime. Lena gasped. "It's coming for us." Arkan's gaze hardened. "Then finish the song." Her throat burned, but she forced the melody higher. The forgotten tune echoed once more, rising like a storm. Above, the human fleet answered. A dozen warships shifted into formation, their cannons charging, their lights blazing. The dreadnought fired first. A massive beam of red energy tore through the void, striking one of the human ships. The hull split, flames spilling out, but the ship still moved, still fought. Then Lena's song reached its peak. The ancient fleet fired together. A wall of blue light engulfed the dreadnought, tearing it apart piece by piece. Its core exploded in silence, its fire scattering across the black. The galaxy's greatest weapon had fallen to a song. Lena collapsed, her voice breaking. The machines above slowed, their guns dimming, but the battle was already won. The alien fleets were gone. Silence returned to the stars. She leaned back, her body weak. I did it." Arkan looked down at her. His face, carved in stone for so many years, began to change. His lips curved not much, just slightly. But it was real. He smiled. For the first time in history, the silent CEO smiled. Whispers spread faster than light. Across colonies, across empires, across the spiral arms, the story exploded. The silent CEO has a fleet no one knew existed. They say a human song destroyed entire armadas. His secretary commands warships with her voice. He smiled. He smiled. Do you know what that means? The galaxy trembled. For decades, aliens had believed humans were calm merchants, clever traders, fragile compared to the great empires. But now they remembered the truth. Humanity was never weak. It had only been waiting. Later, in the quiet of his office, Lena sat across from Arkan. Her voice was hoarse, her body exhausted, but her eyes were wide with questions. "Sir, what happens now?" Arkan folded his hands, his smile fading back into calm silence. But his eyes still carried that rare spark. "Now," he said, "they will come for us harder than ever. They will fear us. They will hate us. But they will never again forget us." He leaned closer, his voice low and steady. "And when they speak of humanity, they will remember the song that woke the fleet, and the girl who sang it." Lena shivered. "And you? What will they remember of you?" For a moment, the smile touched his lips again. "Only faint. Only brief. But enough. They will remember," Arkan said softly, "that even the man who never smiled, smiled when humanity rose again." And in the stars above, the ancient fleet waited. Silent, patient, loyal. Listening for her voice. The melody of war was no longer forgotten. It was alive. And the galaxy would never be the same.